It's Rhema Breakfast. You're with Andrew and Kat.
And For King and Country are in New Zealand this month, performing live in concert in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch on the 16th, 17th and 18th of May, respectively. Don't miss out on joining Joel and Luke for the Homecoming Tour that will not just bring you music from their fourth studio album, What Are We Waiting For?, but also reflections from the new film Unsung Hero, based on their true family story. And right now, we have the immense privilege of chatting to one of the small bones themselves, Luke from For King and Country. Thank you so much, Luke, for joining us today.
Oh, you kidding me? Thank you for taking the time to chat with me. I really appreciate it. And looking forward to what ground we might cover here.
Yeah, well, look, here's the thing. You've called this the Homecoming Tour, so straight up, we need to address this. You've already been here, mate. So why is this time the Homecoming Tour? Like, what's special about this time around?
It's just branding, man. It's just brand. I know, I'm just kidding. No, look, I do think, what is actually interesting is obviously the last time we were here with you guys, it was the first time we'd been able to really come back and tour in a kind of a meaningful way, if that makes sense. We'd been, and done some other festivals and things, but in this way, really coming home to do some shows. And we intended on coming back like immediately. Like I literally remember there being like discussions of, oh, we'll be back in 2020. You know what I've learned? I'm not going to be saying this year, we'll be back in 2025. Because that didn't go so well. So anyway, I think that you go through things like COVID. Actually, on a serious note, you long for home. You long for your people, and obviously we're talking about being in New Zealand. But New Zealand, Australia, as much as we love having the rivalries, it's like we're sort of one group of people, right? And we do need to stand together as people, right? And so I think that it's just that the homecoming idea. It's heartwarming for us to be able to come back. It's very humbling, honestly, to come back and play with people that think like us. I wish I talked like them as much as I once did, but that talk like us. It's the blood is still the southern hemisphere blood is still running through my veins, and so we're looking forward to being back.
I'm not sure you truly mean the talk like us, because the accent overseas has an interesting reputation. But let's talk about when you were in New Zealand last time, because you did mention, I think it was 2019 Festival 1. We saw you perform there. Incredible, loved it. My kids were over the moon to watch as well. And thinking back to your trip in New Zealand, what was the favourite thing you did last time you were in this country, and what are you most excited about experiencing this time you're here?
Yeah, well, the last time we were there, we came a little bit early, and we loved it so much. We're doing it again, actually. We went to Queenstown and hung out there for like 3 or 4 days, and that's just an amazing, amazing place. And so it was more just making some of those memories actually together as a family that. There's something about exploring a new place. I think that we're designed to want to explore, and so obviously I've been to New Zealand several times over the course of my life, but, that's what's the gift of actually getting a little bit older is those experiences become a little bit different as you age. And then you're introducing, your own kids to these experiences. So we're actually coming down here on the 12th, we'll be there. And we'll get to spend some time just outside of Auckland a little bit in a different area, not Queensland, obviously. Queenstown. And we're looking forward to that. Obviously, you're wonderful people. And, it's one of the things I actually tell people. They're like, what are people like in Australia and New Zealand? I'm like, they're the nicest people in the world. Go visit them. You'll never want to leave.
Yeah. Well, look, are you thinking of maybe adding to your collection of New Zealand speeding tickets as well? Because I understand you were collecting a few last time you were here as well. Is that part of the kind of the trip itinerary, or maybe an optional element?
See, wrong brother. See, we started the conversation with, someone calling me Joel, and it's another brother that got a ticket. All right.
So he won't be driving this time round. He'll be revising the road code and converting sort of miles to Ks, and you'll be the one taking the mantle.
Yeah. What's funny is I've always been a rule follower, and I think I remember going by the exact same part. And I was like, hey, you know what? You don't want to mess with, going over the speed limit here. Because in America, if it's, 70 miles per hour on the highway, which is pretty fast, you can usually get away with 75 to 78, to be truthful.
Sure.
Because we don't, in America, we don't do the camera thing like a lot of the rest of the world does. It violates a lot of the First Amendments that we care a lot about here in America. But yeah.
So let's then talk a little bit too about the film as well, which is being released at the end of May here in New Zealand too. And it's a pretty remarkable experience. And knowing, of course, that your brother has inserted himself into the film, we thought it's kind of a little bit unfair that, you know, he gets this role and you don't. So we were kind of thinking, you know, wonders of modern technology. If you could like replace yourself in one of the other available roles, which one would you take? Like, which one was really made for you and you just got gypped in the casting?
Well, I can officially give you the award for I've never gotten asked this question before. You know, so yeah, when I go, so what role would be made for me? What's funny about this is Joel's done acting, and I just don't care to be an actor. There's enough going on in life, like to just, you know, he directed it as well. I mean, he you know, I was there on set all the time. We all worked hard, but it's a big responsibility, and so I was like, man, I don't want to have anything to do with this. But I was in the movie. Did you guys know that? I am actually in the movie.
Yeah,
Did you know this?
Yeah, but you're not in the foreground, my friend. You need to be like a, you know, I mean, I know because
No. But I was somewhat of a main character. Have you seen it? You know, I like to. Now it's a non-speaking role, but I like to say that I'm such a good actor that I'm forgettable. All right, so I actually play the lead singer of Michael Sweet, Striper, Michael Sweet. But most people don't realize it because I have a flowing blonde mane that makes horses jealous of my hair. And so I'm in the film for, you know, a little bit. It's just a non-speaking role.
Well, there you go. You've played your dream role, playing in the band for Striper.
There you go. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And I love that you say that the best
what more can I want in life?
I love that you say that the best actors are truly forgettable, because that's so true, right? Well, let's talk about the crowds in Australia and New Zealand, because as a Kiwi, I'm fascinated to hear how they compare. You know, what's the roar of the crowd like? What are Australian and New Zealand audiences like compared to performing, let's say, for crowds in America?
Oh, I would say this. The crowds in America aren't as vibrant as the ones in Australia or New Zealand.
Really?
Because they're spoiled. I mean, I could say this because hopefully it's never going to get played in America. But they're a little bit spoiled brats because they get music all the time. You know, and they get shows all the time, and they get all their favorite artists all the time. I guarantee you, if you were to go and ask Taylor Swift, what's it like playing in New Zealand or Australia compared to America?
Well, she actually
she's
didn't come to
1,000% going to say
she didn't come to New Zealand last time. She just went straight to Australia and forgot that we exist.
Oh, well, you should hate her. Yeah, it's a biblical thing.
That's why we don't play her on
I'm
Rhema.
just kidding.
Yeah.
That's right. But so anyway, honestly, the crowds and Joel and I were somewhat speechless when the last time we were there. That's part of the reason why I wanted to come back so quickly.
Yeah.
Is because we were sitting there going, I don't know if this is gonna like work out all right, you know, because we you know, we just didn't know. We didn't know if anybody would come, you know, because it's extremely expensive to come and it's extremely risky. Even, you know, talking about Unsung Hero. I mean, my father came over because we lost everything on a tour, you know, when he was concert promoter in Australia, you know. So we're keenly aware of how difficult it is to promote shows, and if people don't come, it's a crazy thing. So no, I would say I'm not gonna get in the middle of it. New Zealand and Australia, they both are definitely better than American audiences. I can tell you that much.
All right, that's enough for us anyway. And I would just like to hear from you as well as a kind of a closing question from me. But obviously, there's the music, but there's also the experience of being in a show, and there is a ministry element to what you guys are doing too. That there's messages behind the songs that are about, well, again, people will discover when they come along in person. But what is your hope for somebody who comes to one of these shows, more than just kind of having a good time? Is there a you know, like a vision, a mission that drives these performances?
Yeah. Well, I've always said this, like, man, if you come to a King and Country show, I want you to be wildly entertained. And some people are like, what do you mean by wildly entertained? Are you doing it for entertainment's sake? And I'm like, well, in some cases, yes. Because if you're entertained, you listen. And at the end of the day, you know, what we've got going on today is everyone's distracted by these things. And so you have to be wildly entertaining so that people will listen. I mean, Jesus told parables, right? People, you know, he told parables because it was entertaining. He kept their focus. The other thing is people can always remember stories, just like they can always remember songs. You know, think about a melody that you may have heard. I think you guys are old enough, like me. In the early 90s, you remember some of these songs, and sometimes you haven't heard some of these songs in 25 years. The moment the song starts, you can sing back the melody. So that's what we want people to come and experience. But I hope that people leave feeling that, you know, look, I hinged my life on the life of Jesus, right? And I want people to feel a warm hug from someone that they may have not encountered before. But what I've realized about the love of Jesus, if you encounter the love of Jesus, you will never be the same. And so our hope is that people through songs, through stories, through sharing, that there's some sort of encounter that takes place. Because I can tell you till I'm blue in the face and I can reason with you, and there can be all sorts of logic, and that might work for some. But until there's an encounter, it doesn't take the same way. But when you encounter that love, you will never be the same.
That is so encouraging. Well, thank you so much, Luke, for having a chat with us today. We so appreciate hearing your thoughts about the Homecoming Tour and, of course, your reflections on your film Unsung Hero. And we can't wait to see you guys live in concert.
Hey, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate you guys, and we'll talk sometime soon.
And remember, too, if you haven't got your tickets just yet, head along to rhema.co.nz, click through on your link, and you will be in for a spectacularly entertaining experience. Amazing. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss the next video.
We'll see you in the next one.